Phoenix Down Radio is on the air.
Welcome, everybody, to Phoenix Down Radio, episode number 120. I am your host, Klauss Nightbringer, and joining me, we have a lovely bunch of coconuts. We've got Seyrr Timono. Hi, Seyrr. How's it going?
Hi, everyone. I'm not dead. Unless I am. Is this purgatory? You have to tell me if it's purgatory and you're a cop.
Well, I'm not a cop, so...
If I'm a cop, I'm like Peralta, so we're screwed.
We also have a Taliz Marvelous. Hey, Taliz, how's it going?
It's going better now that my mic is unmuted. How's everybody going?
Going well, and we have a special guest. If you see on the couch in that dirty beastman uniform over there, we have joining us former host and current host of Moogle Go Round Radio. We have Chille. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's been a while.
I have to object to your characterization, Klauss. Chille has covered his face and hair, unlike that dirty hussy on your side.
Yeah.
We're not on
Shush,
the first.
I am a naked potato, and I'm very happy about it.
And Chille is a jacketed potato.
Potato.
Right, where were we?
All right, now that we're done saying all those mean, nasty things about Lalafels, welcome everybody. Like I said, we hit a nice milestone with 120 episodes. We're glad everybody's able to join us through all of these interesting times. Like many of you out there, we are still stuck in quarantine here, but doing the best we can to get by. Like here in Minnesota, they've extended the stay-at-home orders through May 18th now. I don't know what it's like over in Washington or California or England.
California, I think I want to say the start of June. They actually just furloughed a bunch of the unbenefited library employees, so I'm very glad that I moved up last year.
Okay.
As if we weren't glad enough for you to get that promotion. Yikes.
Woo!
I've heard talks that they're hoping to get schools to be reopened in June, but I really doubt it.
Yeah, I know for us, the school year ends in June, so in-person school has been canceled.
Yep.
We don't even know what's going to happen with graduation.
I've also heard talks that if it gets delayed, if there's no school year this year, then everyone that's missed this year is going to be put back a year.
That doesn't seem right.
It's going to be really awkward.
Yeah.
We're going to have to do something for sure.
I mean,
because it's going to be weird.
We have distance learning going on right now, so school is technically continuing, but they're just not. It's not in a classroom setting. So people will still be able to graduate. People will still be able to move on to the next grade, at least here. But just the fact that they're not doing it in person or in a classroom, and the fact that there may not actually be an actual graduation ceremony, at least in June, like there normally would be.
Yeah.
That's our biggest issue right now. But for those areas that aren't doing distance learning or anything like that, and they're having to set back a year, ouch.
Well, we don't really have ceremonies here except for like universities.
You don't have a graduation ceremony for high school?
Not really, no.
Wow.
No.
That's like a huge stepping stone here in America for kids.
It's not
You know,
really
graduating
a thing
high
here,
school
at least not when I was a kid.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well,
College and university, really, and that's about it.
Sure.
Interesting. I suppose a lot of places would consider college to be almost like a extension of public education because it's included a lot of times. It's, you don't have to pay for like we do here in the US. I mean, college here is realistically it's not a requirement at all. But
It's not a requirement here, but you're very sort of pushed towards it, especially when you've left school.
Gotta take your A
because-
levels and your O levels.
Yeah. Because once you get pushed, because it's basically, at least I don't know anymore. But when I went to college, like 15 years ago,
God, it has been
yeah,
that
no,
long,
good
hasn't
lord.
it?
When you turn 16, if you went to college as soon as you turned 16, all your college was funded until you're 18.
Interesting. Because for
If
us,
you're in a low income house.
see, our high school graduation is basically after you're 18.
Yeah, most
Yeah,
people are
college is
17 or
16
18.
in England.
Okay, so you basically go
Ah.
through 10th grade
Yeah,
in that
Yeah,
case. 'Cause-
college is 16, and then university is like normally like depending on what you've done at college.
it would be like
True.
you could do 2 years,
Yeah.
which would be kind of like an associate's degree
Yeah.
here, or you could continue
Yeah,
on
I
with a 4-year
did
degree and
a,
get an actual
BTEC.
bachelor's.
Yeah, I did a BTEC's national diploma. Did that in about 3 years.
Okay, so it is quite a different system than what maybe we're used to
Yeah.
here in the U.S. So
For
that's
sure.
interesting to know. And that's
When I
probably
was
why
in,
you guys don't have, like for us, our senior year in high school is, a big thing because the biggest thing on
Yeah.
that is we go from being a kid to an adult almost literally because you're 18 years old now.
Yeah, they'll have like an event for it, but it won't be like what you're describing. They might have like the assembly hall,
Okay.
and there'll be a few people there, but it'll take place during the normal list because we'd have like assembly in the mornings
Okay.
where everyone would meet up, and it'd just be, well done, you did it, and then everyone leaves.
Whereas for us, it happens as a separate event. It usually takes a couple hours. There's speeches from the staff, from the graduating class. There's musical numbers. There's
Oh god, not having like that. Congratulations, you passed. Bye.
there's actually the diploma ceremony where the kids actually go up on stage and are given their diplomas one at a time. It's a big thing.
I see that's
Yeah.
university here.
Well, we have that at college too, but like I said,
We don't even really have that at college, to be honest, and depending on the course.
Remember that college and university mean very different things outside of the U.S.
That's true. For the U.S., college and university can sometimes be used interchangeably, even though they are very different things. I think college
A university
generally
is a collection of colleges. A college is a institute of higher learning. So, like, you can have a college of humanities, you can have a college of sciences, you can have a college of et cetera, et cetera.
See, that's completely different here because over here a college is just higher learning, and then university is like for rich people.
It's actually really difficult when I was teaching in like South Korea and teaching in Japan. I was like, no, I went to a college, but I have a bachelor's degree, and they just looked at me like I was completely insane because like that was not a thing that you could do.
Yeah.
Because I went to a college, not a university, to get my BA. So it was a whole weird shenanigan thing. Terminology's weird. Language is crazy.
Yes, it is. Moving on.
Final Fantasy.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting to have these discussions because I mean, it's one of those things you take for granted, and living in a certain area. So, kind of nice to hear another perspective on that, especially when we're going through some interesting times. It's kind of nice to know how things are going.
Learning has taken place.
Yes, I hope you guys all feel better, or for knowing more. Yeah,
And
exactly.
knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Chille.
Yay.
All right. Hopefully this whole thing blows over soon. People do the right thing. Keep stopping the spread, and I don't know. It's affecting us all very differently. Some days I'm all right. Some days I feel kind of unsure. I think we all kind of go through that. It's tough to really put to words what this is actually doing to us. But
Weird things.
if anybody out there listening wants to talk about it, needs somebody to listen, you can always stop by our Discord. Let me put the Discord link in the chat here, if I can spell. You're always welcome to stop by and say hi. We have a community of really amazing people who just want to, help one another out. Give you a thumbs up or just some encouraging words. Sometimes all that helps. And we're here to be good people to one another, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So
Be excellent to each other.
And party on, dude. Sorry.
I'm so happy that's getting a new movie, by the way.
Yeah,
Me too.
That'll be nice. So yeah, otherwise you can always email us podcast@phoenixstormradio.com or hit us up on Twitter @PHXDNRadio and engage with us however you want. We are here for you guys as much as you guys are here for us, I guess. So with that being said, I didn't talk about a ton of news this week because there's really two major things that we want to talk about today. First one being Final Fantasy XIV Producer Live Letter 58. We got our first glimpse and first bit of information about patch 5.3. Did anybody here catch that live?
I
No.
did not.
Yeah, because it was at, Ass 30 in the morning or something like that last week.
I set an alarm and I slept straight through it.
I was awake for unrelated reasons, but just didn't feel up to it.
I was awake and I thought,
Even if I had been awake, I'm not sure that I would have actually really been interested to watch it. I think that's just been my mood on things like that. I'm more interested to read up about it after the fact.
There's probably a little bit of anhedonia in there too.
And the fact that I know there are a few groups that are still, I believe they're who is it? Mogmog, I believe it's still doing live translation. Or they have in the past. I didn't see if they did a live translation for this particular one. But
Reddit normally does a live translation on their Discord. It's
Okay,
what
yeah.
a lot of the other streamers use.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah, the subreddit will for 14 will do a lot of that too. But I know Mogmog, who is Carrie of Light, I believe, on the subreddit, has her own Discord and has done it in the past. I don't know if they did it for this one. That's all. So yeah, Reddit had a mega thread talking about it, as well as our friends at Nova Casalis and Gamer Escape. I'll just copy all of this information into the Discord. Hopefully it works. So there's where we kind of pulled some of our information that we're going to be using to discuss tonight. First thing they talked about was the elephant in the room, COVID-19, and the impact that it has had on the development process for Final Fantasy XIV. At this point, or at the point of the live letter, Yoshida had said they're expecting about a 1 to 2 week delay on the release of patch 5.3. They initially wanted to have it out about early June, I believe they said. So we're looking late June, early July at this point for the next patch.
For 5.3.
And just to be clear, they're not saying anything about what impact it's going to have for the later patches. This is just the impact for 5.3. Correct.
So we're not sure if it's going to have any more huge impact on 5.4 or 5.3.1, 5.3.5, 5.36, all the little
5.4.
and everything going further out. Exactly. What they have said so far that they are able to do testing and debugging from home. The support staff at Square Enix did an amazing job at getting them set up with remote access, dev kits, and things like and VPN access in order to access internal servers and do most of the work that they could do from their desk in Tokyo. Or if they were, I think he was speaking more on the main office, but I'm sure that the other offices are doing similar things as well. So they've got some access there, and they also commented that voice acting has been recorded, and everything for 5.3 has been taken, and they're working on getting that integrated now. So,
Well, I'm not surprised about that because I got lucky to talk with Robon's voice actor last year at KupoCon, and he mentioned that a lot of the voice actors don't even get to meet each other because they just sort of go. They're like invited one at a time to go and record different times.
As well
And
as
depending where they are, they might go to like a local studio to do their recording.
I've also heard from other voice actors. I actually had met. I think it was Thancred's voice actor at Detour last year, and he has a home studio and has done a lot of recording from home and is able to send files off that way. I mean, heck,
nice.
even we realistically could do voice acting stuff here if we wanted to, or voiceover work. You know,
If you want me to voice over your podcast, contact me.
for business inquiries, hit Chille's the best voice actor ever at gmail.com. Hashtag not a real address until
Hashtag
Chille creates
not
it. But no, I mean, with the quality of technology nowadays, like I said, I mean, realistically, I have just about everything that I would need to do voiceover work right here.
Yeah.
So,
I think one of the things that's come out of this entire pandemic is people really seeing just how much stuff can be done remotely.
yeah, I mean,
Because
well,
now it's actually a reason to try.
I mean, granted, you know, people liked having it in a studio, and that makes sense because they have the highest quality stuff. They have full control over every aspect of quality when it comes to the voice acting at that point. But a lot of people can come up with a solution that is 90% or better, or a little higher, as close to the studio experience. So people are getting a lot more resourceful because, well, necessity is the mother invention right now. So
This is true.
it's also why you can't find half of the stuff you need online anymore. I mean, have you seen how much a lot of the streaming equipment has sold out?
Yeah. I was meaning to get a webcam, and if I want to order used from some third-party thing at triple retail, I can do that, and otherwise everything's out of stock.
Yeah. I was looking at the potential of upgrading my setup from my webcam to a DSLR. Nobody has a cam link available. Little USB stick from Elgato used to take a HDMI signal and convert it in and bring it into your system. All sold out. Not available anywhere except for on eBay for exorbitant prices.
Do not recommend.
Do not recommend, exactly. Unless you have a huge business need for it. If it's something you're looking at doing on an amateur level, wait until they restock.
Yeah.
Corsair's working on it. They've been trying to be as open as possible about their situation right now. I mean, they're just as affected as we are. So their production is diminished. So the amount of stuff that's available for us to purchase is not what it used to be. So there's a lot of stuff we have to get used to right now.
'Tis true.
I mean, even the laptop that I'm waiting on is on back order. I'm hoping that it's supposed to arrive tomorrow or Tuesday at Newegg, and then it should be shipped out at that point. But yeah, I mean, it's all just been insane, just because people need it to work from home, or streamers are using this time to upgrade their equipment because they're going to be doing a lot more streaming. I mean, it's true. I mean, even here, I think the amount of streaming I've been doing has doubled since the stay-at-home order hit. So you just can't get the stuff. Also, Sarah, if you want help trying to find a decent priced one, I can maybe help you out.
I'll follow up with you afterwards.
Yeah, no problem. I just figured I would throw that out there for you to see if there's something I can help with.
Yes, I'm interested. Just don't want to get into it too much right now, but I'll follow up with you.
Fair enough. All right. So let's jump into the information we have about patch 5.3. Reflections in Crystal. Interesting title.
There's a
on it?
lot of things that are going to be happening. They kind of hit us with a lot of information super fast in this live letter.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, changes to the A Realm Reborn main scenario quests.
Yeah.
Crystal Tower and My Little Chocobo are required to complete ARR.
It is also required to do 5.3.
Yes. But I mean, the fact that they made CT required for ARR, I mean, that's probably why it's... Because, I mean, they're needing it for 5.3, so they figure, well, let's just make it added into the main scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a backfill aspect to it.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting thing. What happens to the one poor bastard that started in like March and has mainlined the crap out of this game and is currently in Shadowbringers, but never did CT?
Just goes
Do they
back.
have to go back now?
They
and
do.
a level
Well,
50
yeah.
dungeon.
Well, they do
I
if
mean-
they want to get access to the new content in 5.3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be really weird to be like, okay, I know you're level 80 and I level 485 across the board. Here, go do this level 50 quest.
Well, I mean, this is something that they said the last live letter, that Crystal Tower is going to be a requirement for upcoming content.
And in general, they've there's hey, here's the main line, and then here's the side stories. And there's always been kind of a clear division that's starting to be less clear of a division now.
Well, the entire fact that the Crystal Tower is a main element in
Shadowbringers.
Norvrant, that basically tells us now at this point, we should have made this main scenario from the beginning. I mean, it's great
Well,
story.
Have a
also
way to
remember
know.
there was a lot of there was a lot of not controversy, but you got to remember there was a lot of issues when the Realm Reborn launched, because the Realm Reborn Crystal Tower wasn't actually supposed to launch with a Realm Reborn. It was actually supposed to be the 8-man raid at launch. It's supposed to be 8-man raid and then 24-man. But because they had issues with the 8-man, they delayed the 8-man till the patch, and they had Crystal Tower later. So that could also be why they never had it in part as MSQ, because they had to pull it forward.
Well, I thought that didn't come in till 2.2 though.
Well, either way, there was an issue with the 8-man raid,
And the other thing to keep in mind is this is 2.0 stuff. Usually they're designing an expansion it's the type of thing where they release Stormblood and they've started on Shadowbringers. But that's like one expansion ahead. We're talking 3 expansions ahead. They probably didn't know that's where they were going with this.
Yeah, they don't have it, mapped out that
they have it mapped
to
out
that
not that
degree.
detailed.
Not to that degree. But I mean, I guess knowing what we know now, it makes sense to have it required. But it fits in with some other things that we're going to be talking about in a little bit. It'll make more sense when we get down.
We'll get to it.
Into the bottom.
I suspect the My Little Chocobo quest completion is for things like, I remember at the end of the Heavens, how you are flying on Midgard's Sormer when you get out of that one cutscene. If you don't actually have the ability to ride mounts unlocked yet, that's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true. It's just like, hey, we've given you a fun thing in a cutscene that you can't actually do.
Or actually, well, here's the weirdest part about that. I thought it would have been a requirement anyway. Look at Praetorium. You're riding on a
Oh yeah, you ride out of
on a Magitech.
Yeah.
there.
I mean,
Her
there's
name is Maggie.
there's an
Yeah.
entire section where you're blowing shit up with Maggie.
Thank you.
That's a very good section.
It's my favorite section of MSQ Roulette. So
Yeah.
Too.
It's a pretty great
Netflix
set
and
piece.
chill roulette.
Yeah, God, anime roulette or whatever it's called. Because God knows we're not paying attention to it anymore.
welcome to Cinematorium. Sit back and
Yeah.
enjoy your Netflix queue.
I mean, I usually at least take a few to watch the burgeoning romance between Sid and Nero and to tell my entire party about it.
In painstaking
course you do.
detail.
They gon' bang.
How do you know they already didn't? And that's why Nero's so upset, is because Sid left and didn't leave his
Okay,
number.
do you really want my headcanon on this?
Yes,
Yeah.
but not right now.
Why didn't you return my text?
we can make that into a Lorebrarian segment in an upcoming episode.
Oh yeah, Librarian fanfic.
Welcome to Phoenix
Add
Down
playlist
Radio.
Whisper
After
sound
dark.
effects to board.
Okay,
Do you know
and we're
there's like a
demonetized.
Kenny G board game where you try to be a sexy saxophone man?
Please, God, no. All right.
Moving on. There's going to be a new dungeon, the Hero's Gauntlet, which is going to be trust enabled, as all new dungeons are right now. I didn't see any, or I didn't look at any pictures of the Hero's Gauntlet. I'm kind of wanting to go into it blind, honestly.
I already have a theory on what that's going to be.
Oh?
I mean, it's in the name of it. What happened at the end of 5.2?
I forgot already.
Oh, shit. Okay, so...
Oh, yeah,
And look
yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah,
sky
yeah,
in
yeah.
that picture. Look to the top left of the picture.
Hold on a sec. Let me get back to that point.
No, I
Look at the
kind of know what you're
pictures.
thinking. Yeah, all right.
Wait, which picture are we talking about?
I only
me
see
open it.
one picture of the Hero's Gauntlet, and it shows some trees.
Look at the sky to the top left.
Oh. Oh.
I must be looking
Uh,
at a different picture than you guys.
Are you looking?
I'm
Oh,
on
you
the
can
Nova Crystallis page right now.
Yeah, there's trees. And then if you
Trees.
look at the top left,
Very top left. There's like a very
very,
tiny
very
thing there.
top left.
I can't see that very well. Let me see. I have to
There-
make it bigger.
Yeah, make it bigger.
That's what she said.
Ah,
I
Now-
still can't tell.
Here, Klauss.
I see just a little. It almost looks like just a stick or some sort of line or something up in that
Or
corner.
perhaps
A falling
a
star.
hey, some
Yeah.
sort of trail.
I mean, that's a possibility that it might be a
So I mean,
yeah, okay,
you
I get
got-
that too, but it's
and
not
how is
easy
it
to pick
how
up.
is it that we make new Warriors of Light?
We
Yep.
get them on Tinder.
Okay, sure. But also star showers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it
And
possible
it's
that
called
is
the
what that
Hero's
is?
Gauntlet.
Okay, possible.
And what did we have a lot of in the end of the last patch?
Tombstones.
I mean, we all have a load of those.
That's
but...
very true.
We
And
had
don't you mean old phones?
we also had a lot of worthless materials from the diadem.
Completely useless materials from Diadem.
I know what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
lot of people who were just changed over. Yes. So, is it possible? I hope we don't have to fight them now, because that would be bad.
We're gonna fight them.
I mean, I am kind of curious as to what Elidibus's game is here.
In Crystarium. That's the dungeon, is Crystarium.
Oh boy.
That
All
would
right.
Fighting round the
suck.
world.
Oh, God.
See, I don't know. I guess I'm just not feeling the whole wild speculation tonight, but
That's fair.
maybe we can discuss it when we get a little bit more information about the dungeon. Because I mean, there really wasn't a ton that I saw. Maybe it wasn't written down in the different digests, but
The only stuff I'm seeing is that it again mentioned that it was with the trust system and that it's
Yeah.
somehow related to Lakeland.
okay. So
Yeah.
then I'm not missing anything, or it wasn't well.
I'm just going off
Translated.
what happened and then the picture.
Okay. All right.
So-
As Chille kind of alluded to, I think it was pre-show or maybe right at the beginning of the episode. We're getting a new beast tribe. We're getting the damn dirty dwarves.
Yay!
The Superior Beast Tribe.
No, like I said, we already got the pixies.
Yeah, we already got
That's
the
so
dwarves coming
delightful.
too.
This is going to be a crafting focused beast tribe. So if you don't have all of your crafters to 80, what have you been doing with your life? But now you can
Nothing.
get it even.
So don't level crafters.
I mean, this.
So, like, why
this-
are they shoving us into crafting so hard?
Well, this is
Guardian
basically
Restoration, bitches.
the crafting and gathering expansion. Okay, is basically what this is.
How else are you gonna rebuild a shattered world?
One
Yeah.
one crystal at a time. But yeah, so if you've been working on getting your beast tribes up to about 70 using things like the Ishgard Restoration, other beast tribes, or just spamming through leaves, this will be a great way for you to go from 70 to 80 using story mode and having some fun with the dwarves. I mean,
Awesome.
I will say I love the stories that come out of the beast tribes. I really enjoyed the Qatari. It was a really cute storyline with the gathering and all that, and I liked how you could kind of write your own history.
Yeah, I made all the history positive because I felt bad for them.
Yeah, well, that it was it was
I
basically
have a mixture of positive and, well, I'm not like peaceful
Less positive?
and more, like peaceful and more warlike. Also, thing I want to throw in there, given all this, we are eventually going to Pixie's Qatari Dwarves quest.
yes,
Oh,
with
yeah.
with a half naked Makote.
Oh God, I hope he didn't make it to the first somehow.
It's gonna be like his
It'll be his alternate
his
version.
shard. Whatever his first
I mean, this is the first time
version
I've done
is.
all the beast tribes. I've never bothered doing them in all any other one.
Well, you only want to do it so you can make sure that you can do all the dwarf stuff, right?
Yeah,
and so you can get a candy house.
yeah, because I like the pixies and I like the Qatari.
Yeah,
So-
they've done a really good job with these. They made it so it's not so much of a slog. Those A Realm Reborn beast tribes took a long time. Granted, we
By the way,
had a
those
lot
are
of
going to
time
be
to
so
do
much
it.
easier now that we've got flying. Well, we'll get flying.
Oh yeah, hey, you're jumping ahead here.
Oh, sorry.
We're not there yet. So continuing on, we could probably keep, or at least Chille could keep talking about the dwarves for about an hour or so, but we don't have that kind of time.
Aw, but dwarves.
We'll do maybe a cross promotion with Moogle run and do a dwarven special maybe.
Dwarf cast.
The dwarf cast. The Sorrow of Werlet quest line will continue with additional story. There will not be a trial added to this, so we're not going to fight. What is it?
I mean,
Sapphire
Sapphire
weapon.
Sapphire.
Okay.
But it looked like we were going to see it. At least they showed a screenshot of
No, that's
I think that's going to be Sapphire. At least it looked
God,
it had some
no.
blue in it.
it looks more like something that Sid has made. Because it
Yeah.
looks like an Ironworks version of a weapon.
That'd be kind of neat.
Troubling in its own way, but interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I see
mean-
what you're saying because it's kind of got the blue and the orange color scheme to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Sid is standing in front of it.
Yeah. It's not attacking us and it's just stood there.
But who knows? I don't see an Ironworks emblem on it, though. You know, because, well, if Sid were designing this, it would have some giant arm shield or something, and it would have the crest emblazoned on it for everybody to see from like 20 miles away.
Probably going to get that later on. Probably going to transform into like just it just transforms that it's just the Ironworks logo.
It's just the logo, nothing else. It's fine.
And it just sits there. No.
Oh,
Anyway,
Lord.
so we're going to get more storyline on that. We're going to see how that advances. But at least it's going to continue on the story.
And it's this is again one of those things where it used to be alternating patches. We would get like either one or the other developing. Now we're having, even in the off patch for a given cycle, like we're still getting developments in it. We don't have to wait 2 patches to see more of the story.
I like that
Yeah, kind of-
because
Yeah.
Kind of like what they did with the 24-man ring, because we got some of that outside of the normal patch cycle.
it
Yeah.
keeps it relevant in the player's mind.
2 patches is
It is a very long time to wait for. I mean, it's all. We also got yeah. I was gonna say we got some more from the 8-man, but no, we didn't in 5.1, did we? I don't think there was any quest for that, was there?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And they haven't mentioned anything about anything coming in 5.3. But I mean, that's something that so much of the player base just waits for. So I think that they probably feel confident that they don't need the reminder. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Plus, you don't want to extend the story. Well, I guess it'll tie into the MSQ slightly with 5.3 probably.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Because there was some tie-ins with the MSQ in the last patch.
A lot of our usual rules are kind of out the window.
Yeah, well, because mainly for the fact that two of the people involved are not going to be there soon, potentially. Well,
Because you had to do MSQ to get the last cutscene in this tier, so...
Yep,
Right.
exactly. So there, where the trial is going to be added is in MSQ. They're going to keep it a secret, so they haven't said anything about it yet. But there will be a normal and a extreme version available for players to go through, which means there's probably also going to be a weapon available through that as well.
Nice.
I'm hoping they actually don't put a weapon in there, though. To be honest with you,
I don't know what... No, there would be... Would there be a weapon?
well, the last one didn't have weapons. It was actually tokens to upgrade armor.
Well, that's because it's relic.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just trying to work out what this weapon would be, because right now, I guess 495 maybe?
Yeah, well, it depends, because the other thing they're adding in is we'll talk about that in here in a little bit, because that's a little bit further on the list. So they're not adding an 8-man raid, but they're adding the second chapter of the 24-man raid, the Yorha Dark Apocalypse raid, called the Puppets Bunker.
Did you
Yeah,
guys ever play that game, by the way?
Near no.
I didn't.
No.
I have too many other things.
I've heard, though, that's an important part of the game. If I'm right, it's the ship.
Okay.
Looking at the picture, it looks like it could be like some sort of spaceship.
If I'm right, it's the spaceship where the androids are stored.
Yeah, there's some sort of ring style structure that looks to be in ruins. We don't know, is it a ship, is it a building, or what it is, or a space station type of thing. I mean, it looks like go ahead.
Hang on. If it's going off of the original Nier Automata stuff, it's kind of a spaceship.
Yeah, I guess
I'm throwing a picture.
Yeah, I was gonna say it has a similar design to a ring-style space station that you would see in a lot of science fiction movies or artwork. But
There's a picture for you, Klauss.
Yeah, I see it in the chat there, or in our Discord. Like I said, it's very similar to a lot of similar style space stations in other.
Yeah. Now this was
sci-fi,
one that actually threw a lot of people for a loop, because given what had come up in the little in the quest in between, they thought it was going to be pulling another Nier Automata area, the
carnival
amusement park. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, the name was they called it some dark carnival or something like that, didn't they?
And the dwarves were talking about how they were setting up for their annual carnival.
Yeah, but
so there was a lot of references being dropped to that.
But knowing Yoko Taro, he went a different way. Let's try this way. We're gonna go over there.
If you saw that making of thing, he commented that we're gonna have another 156 things.
Seyrr, you're.
Oh, was that further in the?
Yes.
Sorry.
You're fired from a cannon.
Okay, I was hoping if I didn't say anything, you just wouldn't do that next line for once.
Nope.
I did my best.
All right. There will also be job adjustments, which will be discussed in the next live letter. Daily Challenge Frontline is going to now include all Frontline campaigns. So if you really, 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 really like the OnSkull, whatever, the one in the step, get your time in now. Yeah, get your time in now, because it's going to open up to everything once 5.3 opens up. I really like that map. I really do.
I haven't hit PvP in a long time.
I suggest giving it a try.
Is it good?
Oh, it's really good.
No, I wouldn't say really good. I'd say the map is good.
I like the gameplay of it. I mean, unless you are lucky, it seems like they still stack the teams a little bit, because, I mean, everybody goes in as a freelancer and you're assigned to a random our Grand Company. And
what
I'm
Grand Company's fucking for at this point?
storyline.
I guess.
Aesthetics.
Yeah, glamour. But
Different
That should be
colors.
enough.
different colors. But with that, I mean, I am seeing more of each Grand Company win now. Basically, I can
As
figure out.
opposed to
I pick out which
always
one.
flames.
Always Maelstrom or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, because it's splitting up some of the pre-mades because you can only queue up with 4 people, I believe. But if enough get lucky to get into the same group, you can kind of tell because they kind of take charge and that group just does amazing.
They just dominate because they have
yeah.
voice chat.
Or they're
I mean, I've also been in ones where I was just joining up with a bunch of randoms, but there was one person who was like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to give direction, and people listen to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you can get some direction going with that and people follow it and stick with it,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it makes for a really, really engaging PvP session. And, you know, it goes down to the wire where it's like the final score is like 1,600 to 1,500 to 1,400. I've seen that, you know, and it goes for about 18 minutes. And, you
As
know,
opposed to 1,600, 1,100, 300.
Yeah, I've had that too, and I've been on the 300 teams. Where
Yeah,
they're
it sucks.
But it's nice if you're trying to level up other jobs. If you have
Yep.
at least a level 30 job, queue up as that. Switch when you get in, switch to a PvP class that you are more used to, and you will get the experience on the job you queued up as.
Yeah,
So-
they just want you in there.
Such a good exploit. Oh my god.
No,
I'm
I've
not
been
sure it's even an exploit. I
No.
think it's working as intended.
Yeah.
because you can change jobs. Well, it used to be actually no. They specifically changed it to do that for you because it used to be that you would go in and you would get your experience based off of what class you are currently at when the game ends.
And this created the usual issues of, oh, hey, you would like to be this, but right now the team, like, you'd like to get experience on this job, but right now the team could really use more healers. Stuff
Exactly.
Like that.
So I mean, if you
Yeah.
yeah, so if you wanted to go in at, you know, and get experience on your monk, but you know your group ends up needing a healer, you can switch to healer and your monk will still get experience.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It works actually quite well. I most of the time will actually switch to dancer because dancer's a lot of fun in PvP. So yeah. So if you really want to get in your Ansal Hakir, keep going now because you've got about a month and a half until it goes to everything, and it's going to be a shot in the dark as to what you get. Resistance weapons. We will get our first step in upgrading the weapons, and it's going to involve a large-scale instance called the Bosjan Southern Front. It's going to be a Eureka-like experience, but the content will be different. So it's not going to be like they just reskinned Eureka, but it's still
They
going to have
generally don't make the same mistake twice.
it's going to have a 100-person cap per zone per instance. And there's going to be 2 different ways that you can actually upgrade your weapon. So I mean, but the story with it is
They
still
haven't
required.
really gotten much into the details on that yet. It
No,
seems like.
they haven't said much.
Yeah, I mean, you're not shoehorned and you have to do it this way. There's going to be a couple of different options. One might be a little bit more grindy, but easier to do for an individual. And one might be where if you've got a group of people who are all in to do it, you can do something that's a little bit more difficult, but takes less time.
It's not going to be like Eureka was, where it's like, okay, you join the hunt train or you suck it.
Exactly, which is kind of nice. Like I say, it's going to be, do you want to invest time, but it's easy to do with you know little difficulty, or do you want to make it a little more challenging but require more interaction with the rest of the community?
At least that's our speculation on how it'll work.
Exactly. I don't know 100%.
Just remember, this won't launch with 5.3.
It'll probably 5.31, 5.
No, I can personally confirm 5.35.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they mention that? Because it didn't say that.
Actually,
Do you have?
yeah, the writer for the storyline from the who did the
Matsuno?
Final Fantasy 12. He asked people what they thought on Twitter of the story,
Oh yeah.
and I responded. I said, "Oh yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good Relic story." And then he said, "Oh, thank you." I said, "Oh, thank you," and I look forward to future patches. And he responded to me saying, "Oh yeah, next story will be 5.35." I'm like, "Okay
Oh.
then, thanks."
He also dropped some. I think we talked. Did we talk about it before Vagrant Story Connection?
I don't recall. It's possible, I guess.
So, in the thing where he was soliciting the requests and comments and like, he did discuss a little bit some of the elements, like be going into memories and trying to find the bits where people were papering over, was drawing from a lot of elements that they had been using when they were developing a Vagrant Story sequel that never actually ended up being made. But he's the type who goes through all that development, prepares a story, and so he saw it as a chance to use some of those elements.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, why, waste something that, could potentially have a use somewhere else? Might as well just repurpose it. All right.
I was really happy when he responded to me.
That is cool. I thought maybe you had some like other inside information or something that you just
Well, if
shouldn't
I
have
had
talked
breaking-
about.
multiple NDAs, but
If I had that, I wouldn't be saying them here, would I?
I know.
Yeah.
You're very professional, Chille, and we appreciate
you
that.
have more sense than that.
Not a lot, but a little. Just kidding. So there's also going to be some new Disciples of Hand and Land updates. Trial Synthesis will be coming in 5.3, where you have the ability to craft an item without the ingredients. Well, you can test the crafting of an item.
Yeah, this is pretty much taking those practice materials recipe concept and just expanding it to all recipes at this point.
Yep. So if you want to see if you have enough skill and enough GP or enough CP to do a 5-star item or something like that, you can give it a shot. And if it doesn't all go bad, then you can attempt it without wasting, a couple million gil worth of items.
I could also see it being useful for, it's like, test this thing, see how well I can do, see, okay, I could do this with maybe 1 or 2 HQ items, or, okay, I can do it with just NQ items at this point.
Exactly. Searching for recipes using ingredients in your inventory.
Oh my god, I'm looking for... That is the...
Thank God.
You have an item in your inventory. You can find out what recipes is this item used in.
By the
For
way,
someone
with
like me
the
who- Yeah.
sorry,
For
can I
someone
just
like
add
me-
on to the trial?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I really don't think it's going to be used much by high-end crafters.
No.
Because there's actually a third-party website which most crafters already use.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, it'd be nice in game, but chances are the people that are already set in stone using the website that they're using.
Well, to be fair though, I would think that there's a lot more mid-tier crafters than there are the high-end crafters.
That's true.
And for myself, like I've got a lot of random mid-level materials that sometimes I like to turn into something useful to sell or to get scripts from or whatever. But I'm getting random stuff like isn't really worth going to the website and continuing to update this list for every little thing.
Yeah, so it'll give you an opportunity, that way if you have, let's say, half the things and it's maybe a more difficult synth, you want to make sure that you can do it before you spend the time and efforts to try and get the rest of the items to actually craft the item.
Yeah.
And
Or
then
like,
using the ability to search, you can see, okay, I want to be able to make this raid food and I have these ingredients and maybe help you see what's missing.
No, this is more like, oh, hey, my retainer brought back a weapon. I desynthed it. I now have this type of lumber. Huh, what can I actually do with this lumber? And then you do this thing on it and it tells you, this lumber is used as an ingredient in these recipes.
Well, the search can already tell you that, can't it?
Nope.
This is the addition that we're getting.
Okay. I get it now. I thought maybe it was going to do something else. It's like you had these items in your inventory. What things can you make with them?
So I mean, it'll do that. It'll do that on an individual basis.
Yeah, this isn't one fridge. You
Damn it.
type in everything you have in your fridge, and it tells you what recipes you can make. It's
I want
what
that.
makes wood. It's like this weapon, this armor, this bow, this whatever.
The 17 furnishings.
This accessory.
But like I tend to have a lot of little and sorts of other ventures and things like that, and just being able to go through and see, hey, this is a thing I can use up.
Well, you know what this does for us though. This gets us one step closer to being able to craft from our retainers.
Does it though?
I hope so.
I can sure dream, can't I? I mean, see, I never really talked with Taliz about that whole thing. So apparently you agree with me. You want that ability, huh?
Okay, so as somebody that doesn't really do good at the whole sorting process, I would love to be able to say, okay, I want to buy all of the stuff to make this set of armor at level 16 or whatever so that people can go into dungeons and not get murdered. But I don't want to carry this crap around or remember which of my 3 to 5 retainers it's on. But if I could say I'm at it's at a crafting station, because there are those crafting stations for housing that like were sort of helpful like 5 years ago, but aren't really helpful anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like we could use, like you have to use one of those in housing, but you get to craft from retainers. That is a super okay process for me.
Or
because
you just have to be nearby a retainer bell.
Or something like that, because that way I have 170 piece inventory times 8 plus my own plus a Chocobo saddlebag. That's a ton of stuff to work with, as opposed to, oh, I don't have the 4 metal whatchamacallits that are only used in 4 level 52 crafts that I have to make with a sand that I get by killing a snail and this one. No, that's dumb. I'm going to go buy more of it, and now I have 400 of this stupid metal thing because I couldn't remember which of my retainers it was in. No, I want to craft out of retainer inventory. That would eliminate that whole process.
Mm-hmm.
It would slow down and chill out the market on all those little weird items. And we wouldn't have inventories full of random stuff that we just don't use and we don't remember where it's from. We can't track it down anywhere. We sell it. And 4 weeks later, someone in our FC needs an accessory. And we curse up a storm having to go buy a gemstone again.
Yeah, I mean, because, don't get me wrong. There are ways that we can manually search to try and find that stuff. But it's not a nice, easy process. It's convoluted.
It's convoluted as opposed to use crafting station in housing. It says I can craft this jacket. I craft this jacket. It doesn't matter if it came from 3 retainers or whatever. It's just done.
I mean, I'm not saying that it would be necessarily easy to implement.
Oh, no, it's going to be a pain in the butt.
Would it be one hell of an amazing quality of life adjustment?
It would be a redesign of the entire crafting inventory. Do you have X flag? Yes, flag, no process. It would be a lot of work to do. Is it worth it? Probably not, but it'd be super, super cool. But then we'd all get really used to it. And then when we go to the next game, that's now our standard.
Well,
good luck, everybody else.
I mean, it just brings up, gives me an opportunity to bring that back up again, because I know Seyrr loves when I talk all about crafting from retainers. Speaking of crafting, Ishgard Restoration, the 3rd phase will be coming. Skybuilder rankings will reopen, and new items that are going to be probably added to Diadem will count towards your score.
You guys seen the new Ishgard housing, by the way?
Yeah.
I think our server's up to, we finished the new nest, so I think we're on the next component of things. Was it Tunberry that completed the entire thing?
I don't know. I haven't been paying attention, to be honest with you.
There was like an unexpected server that like managed to push through ahead of like I think even the Japanese servers.
Yeah, it was
Tunberry
like
is a
some
Japanese
random server on Crystal.
I thought.
Like Mateus or
No, it wasn't a high pop server. It was like literally some like server that we don't think about.
Yeah, Tomberry.
Was it Tomberry? Okay.
I thought Tomberry was a JP server.
Is it?
It is a JP server. It was a JP server that did it.
Okay. That's right. Tomberry's JP, Moogle is EU.
Yep. But yeah, I haven't been really paying much attention to it. I'm honestly not a fan of the way that it's laid out. it's difficult to get into for me with my schedule. For those who like
have
it,
to do
great.
it on a timetable, right?
Yeah, and the time that the concerted works happens is random. It can happen, middle of the day. It can happen middle of the night, and just the fact that not many people had access to get to it in the first iteration of it, and they, for the most part, kept the same formula. I'm just kind of
Well, it's
tuned it
completely
out.
fixed for this.
Oh, it's fixed in the fact that you have to do it on your home server, but the general, I mean, they did that in the middle of the previous the first version. I just don't like the way that was laid out to begin with. If it didn't require a time, it would be nice if it unlocked an event for individuals to do. So everybody.
But the whole point is supposed to be like a server-wide thing to do, so it wouldn't work doing an individual.
You couldn't just go in and do it. If I were to have redesigned it, it would still require you to put in X amount of effort, but if you put in X amount of effort, you would still be able to be rewarded by being able to do some sort of special instance that would allow you to help with the advancement. And then you would then be able to see the change. It wouldn't be a huge Fate-like event. That's just my thought. That's just my thought behind it, because it will allow everybody to do it on their timeline, but it would still require X amount of effort from people in order to get to that point. It would require you.
It would be very hard for them to have it, because the whole point of it was a server achievement.
No, I
not
understand
supposed to be
that
an individual reward. So it'd be very hard for them to do that while also having it being like the whole server upgrades at certain points, because the whole point was this. It was like a mini competition between the servers. So your idea is good, but it's completely against the whole purpose of the event.
Yeah, I understand that. It just, it just seems like it alienates a certain percentage of the people who, they see how it works as like, that doesn't work for me. I don't understand. And that's, not everything has to be for everybody. That's the point though. So
I haven't done any of it because because I play in North America, so most of the time it's really early for me.
Exactly. All right.
So,
but moving on.
I'm not complaining.
Anyway, moving on. The last bit on that is there will be an upgradable version of Skysteel Tools. So we'll be able to continue on that. I have been just kind of working on getting items for it. I'll eventually craft the things to get my tools.
4 of my crafting tools are done. 3 of them are at the I just need to finish the second stage, and I've done 2 of my gathering tools.
Cool. I've just been using it because I needed to spend my yellow script somewhere.
They're so pretty.
and like I said, I think at a certain point they will be better than the current tier, but just behind the highest tier.
It'll be it's supposedly the equivalent of crafted melded gear by the end of the patch cycle.
Or it'll be either the same as or very close to. I don't think it'll be quite as good as a optimally melded crafted HQ item.
It's at least
by the
their
end of
goal
the
to have
patch
it that
cycle, it
way.
wouldn't matter because you're done.
Yeah.
It'll be like 5.55 that will become equivalent. So
yeah, I guess I can see that.
The other thing, it's a little more okay to do that in this case because you can drop a bunch of money and just have the crafted melded thing right away.
True.
Yeah. And your crafted melded thing will be done by 5.4. So that means you'll have 6 months of it being best.
Yeah.
And by the time it's not best will be when the expansion, a little bit before the expansion drops. So you'd be upgrading anyway because expansion gear.
Fair enough. Then some additional things that they listed. We'll go through these really quick. A party of players can join another party via Party Finder. You won't have to drop party if there's a group that needs what you have in your current party. You can just mix together, which is kind of nice.
That's kind of.
I've never encountered the need for it myself, but I can see the use behind that. A party or the option to require one player per job will be added. So if you want to make sure that you're not getting duplicates. Less of a thing, but I can understand it, I guess.
I guess, but like,
That's-
no, I don't want 2 machinists. Like, all right, I guess, but whatever.
That's for Savage, really.
I
Yeah.
mean, the thing that's really going to care about, you don't have to worry about having 2 scholars or 2 white mages.
Which
Unless the white mage is smart. Because we were it was about a month or so ago, we needed a healer for our Savage group for the night. And we blocked off white mage, right? You know what we didn't block off? Conjurer.
Astro.
Oh no!
So they came
So
in as
they entered the group as a conjurer and then switched to white mage.
I feel like a bit of a dick move there.
I'm honestly impressed. Like, that takes effort.
Okay, they get a golf clap from me.
That's funny shit.
Using World Visit while in a cross-world party. That is a huge quality of life change.
One world server. One world server.
Well, they're getting to that point. But it's more than just that. I mean, there's a lot of interoperability issues that have to be resolved before they can get all of Primal, all of Aether, whatever, together. But the fact that we no longer have to drop party when we want to change worlds because we're, in a say a hunt party, and and it switches over to another server, you have to drop party before you can switch worlds right now.
Yep. If you drop party, everybody moves worlds, then you pick up your other friends, and then you go hunt again. It's dumb.
Yeah, or you get in a different group, or you don't get a group, or whatever. You can
Or
now
there's a
just
queue and
go.
you're stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's nice. New chapters added to New Game Plus. So that'll be nice to see. New token exchange vendors will be added to the major cities. And there's going to be a new Parasol menu. Yay. Spent a little bit of time on this one. The Arr Revamp. They went into some more detail on that. They've removed up to 13% of quests in patches 2.0 through 2.5.
So far as I know, this does not include the Titan stuff, no matter how much people were begging for that.
Well, I think, but what they may have done was they streamlined the quest line.
Yeah. Also, a lot of stuff that was just like go back and forth between these two things. Like they trimmed down a lot of it. That was just kind of unnecessary fetches.
Yep. But what there were certain ones that they couldn't get rid of because they were the characters involved with them were major players within the storyline, so they had to figure out a way to still keep it, yet maybe just make it a little bit easier on the player. They added XP and more gear to certain quests to ensure smooth progression. Flying mounts will be compatible with ARR areas once you clear the quest, the ultimate weapon. So once you beat 2.0, you will be able to fly with your mounts. It won't require... There was that quest in Heavensward in order to unlock the ability to fly. That's going to be gone.
Amazing. One of the things that came up in the discussion was this was another one that apparently the development team did without Yoshi P telling them to.
It's kind of nice that they were able to find the time to do that.
I mean, between that and then the Hrothgar and Viera glasses and the like, it's like, I like these guys.
I mean, it's very possible that, maybe the way that the main development team or group initially thought was required to enable flying in a non-flying area, maybe it's a lot less difficult than anticipated.
Who knows?
Or maybe they're able to make a change to the. It's changing.
Or maybe they're just crazy bastards who love this game.
That too, but they did also specify that there were certain scenery pieces that are no longer able to be climbed due to this change. So they had to make changes to the way the world map works.
Oh yeah, there was like a thing. It was in the stuff like a patch or two back where people were noting that there was some changes to how the zones were done, like the skyboxes and things like that.
Yep.
It's like there was a suspicion that this was coming, but...
Yep. Some other things that are being added coming in 5.3, Unreal Trials.
Unreal Trials.
A new trial difficulty. The primals will be synced to level 80. The first one they're adding
my God.
is Shiva.
No.
Yes.
Nope.
They're adding one per patch. And when you complete it, it'll give you the ability to play a mini game called the Faux Hollows. And you can do this once per week.
Also, it looks like once the next ones are out, the previous ones are gone.
Oh, so it's a timed thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. So if you want and I'm assuming that the rewards are going to change as they introduce new
the rewards
trials?
seem to be somehow related to some nonsense or another with Chloe.
Oh.
I want to say it's going to be Savage equivalent stuff.
It's possible.
Mm.
Because the upgrade items are normally from 5.3. So, and this is weekly, and it's going to be almost Savage tier. So they talked about Titan being the first one, but they said it was probably going to be too hard for the first Unreal trial.
It would be perfect,
so that's why
though, wouldn't
Shiva
it?
was.
They don't want to scare people off from it immediately.
Yeah.
But they did also talk about one other thing where it's like, you've got these primal fights that once upon a time were like very intimidating, expected them and all that, and now it's become okay, this is a thing you breeze through, but they want people to be able to kind of enjoy them in their something, not in their exact original state because you can't, but something that gave that feel.
As opposed to now when we were like, hey, I wonder if I can beat Ifrit with my Astro with no gear on. Like, and yes, you can, actually. It's not that hard. But that's
Sounds like somebody was bored.
Yeah. My roommate and I were trying to figure it out at one point, and
Gotcha.
so Bannon and I just sat there and just crushed like all of these like hard mode primals with like healers with no gear on. It was fun.
Hashtag shelter in place life.
Yeah, this was like a year ago. We had nothing to do.
So if you're looking for a new challenge in game and want some interesting items, definitely take a look at the Unreal Trials.
For sure.
Some miscellaneous announcements that they ended the stream with, or this portion of the stream. The free login campaign is going until May 17th. You can get up to 8 free days of playtime, which starts the minute you sign in. If you have any friends who used to play the game and haven't played in a while, basically you just have to not have had an active subscription, I believe, for the past 30 days, and you're eligible to sign in for free for right now, which is kind of nice. There is a bonus episode of the behind the scenes Shadowbringers that was released where they are discussing the Yorha Dark Apocalypse quest line and what it was like to create that with the makers of the Nier game. And oh my god, is Yoko Taro just insane.
He's the best.
He's actually was extremely adorable in this. I loved watching this episode.
I mean, they had the two of them on the couch, and then he was sitting behind it, holding up a hand with the little face mask thing on it.
And did you notice how it had like stitches and stuff like that over the one side?
Mm-hmm.
Also, it appears that Yoshida has to ply everybody with alcohol in order to get these types of collaborations to go.
Alcohol and really good steak.
Well, in this case, it required steak too. But if you remember back to the whole Yokai Watch thing, it was just a lot of alcohol at the bar.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you've got a company expense account.
I can think of so many more better things that could be. Never mind. As I sit here drinking alcohol.
They talked about lots of interesting elements, how they wanted to do something that was more than just your standard collaboration where it's like, oh, hey, here's a couple like costumes and maybe a neat little item or something like that. They wanted to make it something more interesting than that.
Yeah. They also wanted to delete a data center.
Yeah. Well, it's either make you choose between deleting a data center or getting rid of your 2B costume.
The discussion was hilarious. It was really good. If you have not watched it, please do. It is actually really good.
I am genuinely not sure how people would choose if presented with those two options.
Well, it depends on what data center. I mean, if it's chaos, burn it.
Yep,
I mean, do you get to choose, or will it be like in the true near spirit of things,
Where
okay,
they're all put
data
on a
center-
roll on like a wheel and it's spun.
A data center will be deleted, and you have no idea which.
Yeah. And then apparently there's going to be only 156 more installments to go, like Seyrr ruined earlier.
It's fine.
They encouraged us to have a nice long life so that we could see the whole thing.
That was adorable.
Oh,
The sense of humor you get from the Nier team, it was really good, and Yoshida was just playing along with it, and it was really well done. It was just done in a simple, the two of them sitting on a couch. It was just nice little discussion format, and it worked well.
good times.
All right, so that is Live Letter 58. Went a little longer than we wanted to initially, but it is what it is. What we really want to talk about, though, is a game that came out about a month ago.
Very good timing on when it came out, for that matter.
Yeah, it would have been nice if it came out a little earlier, but I understand.
Yeah.
Shit happened. But the fact that we were able to get this game and play it during this time worked very well. And we are, of course, talking about the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm going to give you guys link a couple of different reviews by a couple of amazing sources. One is PlayStation Universe, written by an amazing writer, Tim Nunes. The other one is from Gamer Escape. Both of them are spoiler-free, so you can feel free to read, both of them. If you haven't played the game fully, no worries. These both came out before the game was actually released. So if they put spoilers in there, they would have a bunch of angry readers. So yeah, with that, I think everybody in here has played the game at some point, at least is at some point within the game right now. Correct? I know, Chille, you've
Correct.
beaten it. Right?
Yeah.
Taliz is towards the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And Seyrr recently just got the game and has, I believe he's somewhere in chapter 5, he told us. So he's
There we
still...
are. Sorry, had to grab something to drink.
You're
but yeah,
fine.
I just reached the beginning of chapter 5 very late last night and decided that was probably a good point to pause for the moment.
But I know you're gonna get drawn in a lot more. The story
yeah.
it's building. It's really good.
I really know that the wall market is going to be his favorite place.
Yeah, everyone's been telling me about that. Like, I know it's a lot to expect a lot from that, but then there's been lots of other unexpected bits that I've really been delighted in.
There is a lot going with this game. The first thing that I noticed when I played it, starting with the demo that we got, and then actually getting the full version of the game, is it is very much unlike the original Final Fantasy VII in its gameplay. It is very much an action RPG at this point.
Oh yeah.
Along the
Yeah.
very similar, but not quite the same as Final Fantasy 15.
So
I-
you can tell you can tell the DNA's there.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Shiny
Yeah.
turd though, realistically.
I don't mind the gameplay. I mean, it took me a little bit of time to get used to, using, real-time inputs to fight enemies that I was used to hitting with, an ATB attack and going back and forth in the old-fashioned RPG style. So it took a
Well,
little getting
7
used to.
wasn't back and forth really because the enemies could attack during your turn.
No,
Yeah.
like I said, it
That's
was
classic ATB.
Yeah, ATB. Yeah, the timer will build up. Every enemy and player had a specific timer that would build up within a certain amount of time based on whatever parameters they had for speed and other modifiers. And whoever's would fill up first would have the opportunity to go.
Yeah.
And they've used that system, moving forward, in a lot of their games. And then it basically, once they hit about 12, things changed quite a bit. I guess.
10 was a
10.
straight up turn based.
Yeah.
Yeah,
10
you're
was
right.
different.
10 was turn-based. You're correct.
And then
Well,
10-2 as well. Remember, 10-2 was faster. It was ATB, but a lot more faster than.
I don't remember that game. I'm not. I didn't. There was a 10-2. What?
Well, you can go watch my playthrough of 10-2 over at Moogle Go Around Radio as I play through it.
Well, of course, 11 was a very different one too because that was the MMO. But then 12 was similar to 11 in the fact that all the enemies were on the map, and actually every game forward from that point on, there were no more random encounters. I think. I'm
No,
trying to remember
13
if 13. I'm trying to think if 13.3 had any random encounters.
I don't remember.
I don't think it did. I think the
been so
enemies
long.
were on the screen.
Yeah, stuff was on the screen. There might be stuff where like
It would draw you into a battle, but you could.
Right. That's
Yeah.
not the same.
You had the ability to go around. Where 12, you fought the enemy as it was in front of you. So, the fight system in 7 Remake actually has a lot of similarities to that.
Yeah,
Mine
I
does.
think
You
that
can see everybody and just.
Yeah,
I wish I
minus the
could
gambit
attack.
system, I guess.
I wish I could attack before they see me and get a bonus for it. That would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the one of my negative points on it was the fact that you couldn't get like a sneak attack or a anything like that if you were to be behind them.
I mean, like I feel stuff is fast paced enough as it is.
Yeah.
But I know early on, some of the fights aren't the easiest, and you can take a lot of damage and require a lot of healing potions or curative magic, and it can get to be difficult. As you're getting used to the system, like I said, if you had the ability to time or get a sneak attack bonus, I think it would be helpful. Just a thought, but maybe we'll see something of that in the future.
Who knows? But
Because every
it's-
time you go ahead.
once you figure out how combat works, like your initial, like as soon as the music changes and your menus pop up, I know I have like First Strike on Cloud, and like I start with an ATB.
Yeah.
I can throw haste on
Yeah.
my entire party before they actually even turn and start attacking me, and I'm like, I'm 3 times as fast as you. There's no way in hell. And sure enough, Tifa runs over, uppercuts everything, and it's like, well, you're dead now. Like,
Especially
I'm
if
gonna
you
start
give her the
fighting you
upgrade
on
where-
turn 1, basically. Like, there's nothing you can do. So you can set yourself up to
Especially
be
if-
fast enough.
Especially if you give her the upgrade rate, gives her a extra upgrade in a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, her special move.
Yeah, that's another
Yep.
thing we can talk about is there is a weapon upgrade system within Final Fantasy VII Remake. What's really nice about it is every weapon has its own upgrade pool.
Yeah.
And
You-
just to expand on that, you get weapons that you get throughout the game. They're not necessarily okay. You've got this one; it's now better. Each one seems to more lean towards a particular play style.
Correct.
Yep.
There is
Yeah.
an all-around weapon. There is a weapon that is meant more for physical damage. There is a weapon that has strong magic ability. There are weapons that are a little more balanced between them, and but don't offer much in the way of defense. There are a few that add more defense, and there are also some that specialize in certain aspects of a player's special skill set. I think
There's some of Tifa's gloves. Like Tifa's abilities on her gloves are really, really good, and you want to max them out. But boy, those gloves are a mess as far as like stats and attack value and magic value and defense and materia slots. But the skills that she gets are bananas if you chain
Yes.
them together well.
Also, each one of the weapons has a weapon skill associated with it that you have to use in order to learn.
Yep.
What I mean by that,
Right.
when you first get a weapon, the weapon skill is locked to that particular weapon. So if you have it equipped, you can utilize it once you have an ATB charge available. Taliz, I see you have to head out.
Yep.
Appreciate you stopping by. I know life comes in first.
So yeah, work just texted me. Everything went sideways. Final thought
Oh,
on
dear.
Final Fantasy VII Remake. I hurt my hand and couldn't play for a little while, which inhibited me from being able to play well. Classic, basically you end up watching the game. It's pretty straightforward. If you're interested in playing, but action RPGs are not your jam, Classic is a way to do it. However, it is on the easy difficulty, so there's a lot of stuff you're not actually going to see. But take the time, play through it. The story is good, and overall, as somebody that isn't attached to the story or the characters, I found enough stuff in this game that I'm still 30 plus hours in, and I'm not done yet. There's a lot to do if you're willing to look for it.
Yep.
Have fun, y'all. Have a good night.
We look forward to actually getting more of your opinion when we come back to this, Taliz. Have a great night. But yeah, continuing on, I was actually looking forward to getting into a little bit of a discussion with Taliz because he has a very different opinion of this game than the rest of us do.
Yeah, I was looking forward to just based on what I've already heard him say.
Yeah, so that's going to have to come up. You know, this current review is going to be completely spoiler free, or as spoiler free as we can possibly make it. There will be some aspects that we may discuss that came from the original game. So being that's 23 years ago, I think we're kind of okay to talk about. But we're going to try and keep a lot of the stuff as basically so you can experience it. Hopefully get you guys to want to get the game and try it out. With that being said, we were talking about the weapon upgrade system, I believe.
Yes.
And so what the nice thing about it, a lot of games you get, you have a certain point system that you utilize to upgrade your weapons. A lot of times you have to pick and choose what you want to assign it to.
And that's always been a thing for me, being like, okay, I have a limited resource. I have to assign it to this. Oh gosh, what do I commit? Oh God. And I dither about it forever.
They did a great job in this game because every weapon has its own pool and the stats can be reassigned.
Yeah. So the reassignment is for a small fee, but it does lead to a thing where, say, for instance, I don't have to choose, okay, this is the weapon I'm going to focus on and I'll upgrade that. You can upgrade, all of your weapons will be at the same level, upgradable to the same effective point.
Yes.
But you could be like, okay, this one my really good defensive weapon, this one I'll update to be my really good physical attack, this one I'll have be really good for when I'm fighting against stuff that dodges a lot, stuff like that.
The other nice thing about it is within those weapon upgrades, it allows you to add materia slots. So in the original game, weapons had set slots. And if you wanted more materia slots, you had to go to the next weapon.
And it was kind of your of the time.
Yeah,
okay, the next weapon is just better.
It was your progression.
Yep.
Whereas now you can play through the entire game with the Buster Sword, with the Gatling gun, with the guard stick if you want.
Which, given how iconic those are to the look, doesn't necessarily seem like that bad a thing.
And you're not going to be hindered by the fact that they are level 1 weapon, so to speak, at the time. They will progress with you as you go throughout the game, and you can assign new stats to them, bonuses, upgrade the amount of material you can slot into them, and they are actually viable weapons at endgame.
Yeah.
When you get towards the end.
Given how many different games I see that appreciate, hey, we want our characters to look good. Hey, you care about the cosmetic thing. I know Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia just added a thing, glamour over weapons for any weapon that character's mastered. Just because, hey, you want that look. Hey, maybe you want this character to wield their iconic weapon.
Yep, I actually did put the Buster Sword on Cloud because of that.
Did you put it on Zack as well, though?
I don't know if I changed Zack. I think I only changed it for everybody that was 70-70.
Let's not talk about my numbers here.
Well, I have 7, I think, that are 70-70, and have fully leveled plus weapons. I know.
So anyways,
I don't spend as much on this as you do. Anyway,
I remember you should
what
go back and put Zack in it, and then you should have the two be next to each other, and then you should feel sad.
No.
That's probably for the best.
I remember what we were talking about. We were talking about the weapon skills. So like I said, every weapon has its own new specific weapon skill. In order to learn it, you have to use it. So when you build up an ATB, you can either use that to perform a specific weapon skill, or you can use it to use an item, or you can use it to cast a spell. And in order to learn the weapon skill so you can keep it with any weapon that you have, you just utilize it so many times, and that grants you the ability to retain it. So it's actually a really nice system.
You can keep you have this weapon, you have this variety of weapons, and yes, you can choose this one to be the main one you focus on, but by spending a little time with practicing with the others, you can build up this huge array of techniques and various skills to chain and work together.
Correct.
It reminds me of Final Fantasy IX, if I'm honest.
Yes, but a lot more streamlined.
Yeah.
Because the 9 system, you had to spend a lot of time with that weapon equipped and earn AP on it. And a lot of those skills required a lot of AP in order to learn the skill.
Yeah, but this is also part 1, so who knows what part 2 will bring us.
And you also then had to spend points to equip it.
Oh, yeah.
And you had a limited amount of points to equip the skills that you've learned. Whereas every weapon skill
the concept is...
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean,
taking the concept and then like improving it to a thing that feels a lot more usable.
And it feels like a natural way to go through it. And it forces you to at least give it a try. Because there are certain weapon skills that are absolutely dominant for, if you want to be efficient in your playthrough. But this makes you actually utilize some of the other skills and see what their use cases would be. Because, I rarely use some of them, but I want to make sure to learn them all because, they can all be effective and they don't take very long. I think in most cases, it's less than 5 times to learn it. Sometimes maybe a couple more a little longer, but some of
the skills I noticed also have refers to a proficiency bonus where if you can pull off certain types of maneuvers like these or things like that, you learn the skill faster.
Okay, so I noticed I wouldn't always see that proficiency bonus pop up, but that makes sense. That makes sense. I'll have to learn into what it actually requires in order to get that, but I only have one more weapon skill to learn right now. It's a weapon that I haven't actually acquired yet. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So yeah, you can, and switching between items isn't too bad. My only big gripe about the weapon upgrade system is the interface. It looks pretty. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's very nice. It's very slow to actually go through. You have to click in there, and then you have to click on the weapon, and then you have to click your R2 to switch between your nodes, and then you have to use your up and down arrows in order to pick the actual thing you wanted to upgrade, and then you have to back all the way out to get to the next one, yada yada yada. And it wasn't pretty. I probably spent way too long of time on stream upgrading weapons. If you want to see the playthrough of it, we actually, for a little while, do have a little bit, some VODs of my experience. I don't know how much longer they're going to be out there, but if you're interested in seeing what my experience was playing Final Fantasy VII, I believe you can check it out on our video on demand at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio. But with that said, overall, I like the weapon system. The accessory, or no, the armor bit. Also, I'm not as big a fan of the armor. It's a lot more limited with the different types of armor there are. But I guess that makes sense. You've got either your tank armor, your DPS armor, or your magic user armor.
Yeah, it feels like that's kind of a consequence of moving away from just having the standard treadmill of upgrading items throughout the game. Yeah. Like with weapons, it's a lot more it's a lot easier to say, hey, this is your attack style. This is an attack style that's more focused on this. Yeah. With defensive stuff, like it feels like there's less options there.
Well, and
there is kind of a few things that later on you can get if you're talking about armor and accessories.
Well, I mean, well, with armor, I mean, basically that is your standard vertical progression. You have your starter armor, which you can tell what the better stuff is going to have a little better stats, is also going to have more materia slots.
That's kind of what the original was like.
Yeah, but I mean, there were more options I thought available with armor.
Not really. You
I
got to a certain point in the story, you went and bought all the upgrades, and then you got to the next part of the story, you bought all your upgrades. It isn't until the end of the game that you got some options with, like, even then, the options were only if you wanted to increase your materia growth. Really, it was always one option.
There is also at the end game there was the option where you had nothing with basically like no materia slots, but it would give you like other things. You would like everything. All your materia would be in your weapon, and your armor would give you like status resistances or something.
Yeah, but you really only got that near the end.
Yeah, or it would be like your grinding. Wasn't there one that gave you like a huge XP boost, but you couldn't put materia on it or something? Or it had no materia growth. That's what it was.
Yeah.
But
you had a lot of materia slots.
Yeah, but no materia growth. And then there was ones that had like a couple of materia slots, but just massive materia growth.
Yeah, there were two of them, one for Sid and one for Cloud, that had 2 slots but triple growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we might see more like that, I guess. But I mean, the fact that they built in a weapon upgrade system, it would have been nice to see maybe something similar for the armor, being the options were limited. Just a thought. I don't know. Like I said, or it might have been one of the things they wanted to do, but they had to kind of cut it out because of constraints with development. Who knows? And then the last bit of equipable items you had were your accessories.
And accessories are why I feel like Part 1 items will not transfer to Part 2.
You don't think? Oh, well, there is the one. It's really hard to get though.
Yeah.
So, some of that stuff we'll have to see. I would hope that certain parts will transfer over.
I don't think anything really will transfer over. I feel like there'll be a story reason why you've lost all your items, and you're not going to be high level because it'd be weird for you to start level 50.
I don't know. I'd be surprised if nothing transfers over.
I feel like you're probably going to get some sort of reward for transferring stuff over, but it won't be what you have. You'll get like some sort of reward material. Some sort of item rewards for doing it, but I don't think any actual equipment will transfer.
And it would have to be something that wouldn't be game breaking. But I mean, I understand what you're saying, but yeah,
because they'd have to think about ways of balancing the game for people that have got all those game breaking items if they transferred over, versus the people that have just bought it because it's Part 2. Because there'll still be a load of people that do that.
Well, what I've often seen for some of them is there's some standard set of things, but if you transfer data, you get like some extra bonus.
Now here's a question.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting.
Has it been confirmed that it's going to actually be a standalone game?
I don't know.
I thought they announced it as parts, so probably.
But parts could also be DLC.
Considering the size of each part, chances are they're all going to be...
I mean, it's theoretical that it could also be DLC or an expansion of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that I would think that it's very possible that it could be along the lines of 13.2, 13.3, where there's separate games, but they all have similar tie-ins to the main story, but they're not. But the difference being Final Fantasy VII, it's going to actually be a linear progression. So if somebody jumps into 7.2, they're going to have missed the entire Midgard section.
No, all those games always have a last time on so-and-so.
Yeah, I guess they did, didn't they?
I mean,
still.
But think about playing 13.2 when you haven't played 13. There may be like a brief summary, but it does feel kind of unsatisfying. Yeah. It's kind of if you really want to, you can.
Some people are like that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, because I know there are certain things about Final Fantasy VII that a lot of people didn't like. One of the biggest negative things that was said about the game was that it felt like Final Fantasy 13 because it was such a linear corridor simulator. And yes, it was.
They're all linear.
It was absolutely linear. But yeah, we had this discussion, and I had this epiphany earlier before the show, and a lot of other people have the same thought. The Midgar section in Final Fantasy VII, the original, was linear.
Yeah,
I'm calling the open world being cut as well.
Well, I have a strong feeling that in the part 2, the open world portion will be severely limited, yes, but I don't think they're going to completely get rid of it.
but I mean, like, how much do you actually get out? Like, they say, oh, it's an open world, and yes, technically you can, but there's still generally, this is the spot you need to be heading towards next. This is the bit that progresses the
They
story.
block off certain areas or access to certain areas with story reasons, but you can still explore other areas.
But in the original 7, there was really nowhere to explore.
True.
Yeah.
You basically had to go from Midgard to that tunnel, and you had to avoid the Midgard Zolom.
Unless you killed it. Like
yeah.
me.
And go and learn beta. We know. We know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have long felt and held that the biggest sin that 13 did in terms of why people got mad at it was that it didn't try to hide the corridor and instead emphasized it as part of the narrative it was trying to tell.
Well, really, that started.
That one being your goddamn fugitives.
Well, the thing is, though, it really started with 10. I mean, the mini map had hard borders on it.
Yeah. Even when you got the airship, it was just here's a list of spots you can go to.
Yeah, and which took you to another corridor. So, I mean, it wasn't an original thing. But even, I mean, granted, yes, you can walk around the map on 7, on 8, on 9, but you still, until you got further in the game and unlocked certain things, you didn't have access to get to everywhere you wanted to. It wasn't completely open.
And even then, really, you had no real reason to go to many places. Because apart from, 4 secret caves, there was nothing to use the airship to go to.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you would do would be you go to certain areas to level up potentially, or you would look for specific items, or you would farm for certain things for, upgrading armor or weapons or whatever.
The point of having the open world, as far as I could tell, is to make it feel like, hey, this is a big wide world full of possibility and whatnot. And so it's worth thinking about, is that actually necessary to what you're trying to do? And is there another way to give that?
I feel like what they could do is, remember the calm in 10?
Yeah.
They could easily emulate like an open area space.
The calm or cocoon in 13?
Yeah, just like a bigger
Grand
open,
Pulse.
not an open world, but an open area.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I felt like that bit of 13 was where the narrative kind of started to drag and become a bit muddled, and it was once they started getting back to the pursuit that. Anyways.
Well, I think that was meant to be.
That's why I mentioned 10.
Yeah. I don't know. I enjoyed Grand Pulse, but it was. I think it was more meant to be that interlude where you can explore other things before you get back into the main again.
But it kind of felt a little like, hey, stuff. Which, like, if it was intended to be an interlude, sure, but like it was a bit that was less enjoyable to me for that reason.
And like I said, everybody is entitled to being wrong. Just kidding. Anyway, 7, the Midgar section in the original, and the version of the game that we have right now, they weren't that much different in that aspect of it, in the fact that you were directed to go to a specific area. And
oh, hey, now we need to prepare this thing for the next bombing mission. Oh, now you need to escape from the Turks.
Yep. It's just you didn't have the hard lines. You had to just moved your character, and it would walk along those specifically developed areas on that little JPEG image in the background.
It made more of an effort.
They tried to hide it a little bit, but it was still you had very specific paths that you could go on. Versus in this one, if you had the mini map up, you saw the very specifically defined borders of where you could go, which actually was kind of helpful. So it gave you an idea of where you actually did need to go, especially in some of the areas that were a little bit more puzzle-like, or maze-like. So, so I didn't mind that Final Fantasy VII Remake is a big corridor game, because a lot of the things within that, it gave us more time to just take in the actual scenery and the backgrounds and the artwork that they spent so much time creating to make this world just look like
my gosh.
It's fabulous.
I was playing a bit. One of my housemates came by, and so he was curious about it. So I was standing out on the balcony of the apartments and just did a sweep showing around. Okay, that's Midgard. That's the place up there, and then there's the slums down here, and telling him a little bit about it. And he was, ended up having an entire conversation about cyberpunk dystopias from that, and it really kind of had that gritty cyberpunk feeling.
Yeah, I mean, they made it look very much like, we imagined.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've been saying a lot, is that it doesn't look exactly the same as the original, but it gives me the same feelings. Or perhaps like slightly more like nuanced or developed versions of those feelings.
I've heard a lot of other people discussing this game saying this. It looks the way I remember it.
Yep.
Because we had to put a lot of, if we go and look at the original graphics for Final Fantasy VII, by today's standards, they were horseshit. But at the time, they were a huge advancement from the pixels, the 2D pixels that we had. They went into it very rough, but 3D polygons. And our memories kind of processed that into a more defined and, prettier shape.
It gave us something that our imaginations could go to work on.
Correct. And what we remember is what we see now in the remake.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a good 20 years or so. The people working on the remake are probably also people who grew up with this, who had those experiences, who had their imagination run wild with what it could be, and they get to put all of that into the new one.
Yeah, I think also a lot of it was, it looks a lot more like the artwork, too.
Yeah. And some of that's just the development of capabilities.
Exactly. Now they're able to take their initial thoughts and actually create it in this 3D space. And then Ian in the chat saying they are able to put in a lot better storytelling. Yes. With Final Fantasy VII Remake, this first part that we were given, we get 30, 20, depending on how fast you go, 25 to 40 hours of amazing story.
I think I finished around 43.
The localization is a lot better too. Like, not even getting into the adding the various story elements that they added, just like the localization. I think the original English localization was done by one person who was working on a very tight deadline.
Whereas now they had an actual full team for each of the localizations, and they realized that they need, the ability to fully flesh it out and not only have it
They cared about getting it right.
Exactly. Not just a quick translation, but actual, changing some of the nuance, making, so it makes sense to us, because a reference in Japanese doesn't make as much sense when it's translated in English. So they use a similar.
We can go on about the challenges of localization for hours.
Exactly. I'd love to have a localization team member on sometime to tell us what it's like to do that for a video game. But anyway, that's probably a pipe dream. But moving on, the fact that we were able to get these characters that we remember from Final Fantasy VII, Jesse, Biggs, Wedge, and we get, not only do we get, beautiful renditions of their characters, we get an expansion on their personalities. They're not just members of Avalanche. They are some amazing NPCs. because I mean, holy shit, is Jessie thirsty?
I mean,
Well, she was
When you
thirsty
got-
in the first one.
But
when you got a
original.
beverage like that in front of you. What? What?
You are technically correct.
Damn right. But so definitely the characterization of the minor characters, bringing them up into being more full-fledged actual people. Also, the main characters, like especially with stuff like Advent Children, we've gone this whole like, okay, Cloud is broody and whatever, and Aerith is, oh, I am pure, uncorruptible pureness, and like seeing all the characters start to also like bringing them back to a little bit more of their original. Hey, Cloud is someone who sometimes is a little bit jokey about things,
Well, Cloud was always supposed to be dorky, wasn't he?
yeah.
yeah, he was supposed to be a little bit awkward.
He's
Yeah.
From what I've read, he's a little bit more childish than everyone else, even though he's, for age-wise, he's older than Tifa.
Not by much though.
Only by one. But supposedly mentally he's he's more like a 16-year-old than a 21-year-old because of what happened to him.
Which we'll
Trauma
learn
to-
more about in if you
Yeah.
played the game, you know a bit about it, but they're probably going to expound upon it even more in
Yeah.
upcoming.
Trauma gonna
remake.
trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we get to see. There, I don't know if it's considered spoilery, but when we get to see bits of what the lives of what Wedge has, and going up to the plate to get pizza. Well, kind of get pizza.
Yeah.
And the fact that we got to explore a little bit, actually, aside from a couple very brief moments, everything took place down in the slums. Here we're getting a little bit more of this is what's life is like for people on the plate. A little bit more of how Shinra employees feel about it, who are caught in an odd place between, hey, they really believe in the mission and that they're trying to make things better, and at the same time, hey, their employers may be doing some sketcy stuff, and how they're trying to navigate that.
Yeah, they
My
expand a
favorite
lot
new
of that.
character in the remake, middle management guy.
Oh, that poor guy.
Oh, that guy on the train.
Shinra middle manager, yes.
Yeah.
The one that we have to keep Barrett from beating up, or is this a different one?
Yeah.
No, that one.
Yeah,
That's the
that's it.
one.
My favorite character.
But yeah, everything feels a lot more fleshed out. Even I don't feel too since it's talked about early on, the fact that hey, Avalanche is pulling off terrorist bombings that they see in the first chapters. They see the aftermath of the bombing of Mako Reactor 1, and we get to see a lot more of like what impact that's having on the people of Midgar.
Yeah.
And seeing them looking at that and saying, okay, we're going to keep going on this. Like, it makes them a little bit more morally complicated. They're no longer just straight up, okay, these are clearly the good guys.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who are like, Avalanche are a bunch of terrorist assholes. Why aren't they in custody yet? Or
And we're shown that people are saying that, but that it's legit. Those people have legit reasons for feeling that way.
yeah, because we are, or because these bombings are actually affecting their day-to-day life.
People are displaced from their home. They've lost their possessions. They're injured. They lose loved ones.
Yeah, I mean, the other
You
fact,
overhear people talking about like, oh my God, my friend was working at the reactor. I haven't heard from them.
would you guys consider talking about Chapter 1 as a spoiler?
Whatever. It's fine.
No.
Chapter 1 was the demo.
Yes, I
Yeah.
know. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
if
it's
you
fine.
Think, okay, the reason I asked is because at the very end of Chapter 1, it diverges a bit from the original story.
Yeah.
In the original game, the bomb creates that explosion. In the remake, the bomb basically goes off like a little firecracker.
Like
The damage,
Which,
I
by
think
the
it
way-
did what I think it did what they wanted.
but the damage that is done at the end is actually done by Shinra. They use their machines to actually destroy the core and create that explosion. It's not actually done by Jesse's bomb.
Right. But at the same time, Jessie is confused about that it seemed to have more yield than she thought.
Yes.
But even with that confusion, they come to the conclusion that, okay, this was something that we did, and we're going to keep going on it. Like, there was that change, I remember in the demo, and I thought it was like, okay, that's interesting, but also, is this going to be an attempt to morally absolve them of the fact that they're eco-terrorists? And I'm glad that they didn't do that with it, that they went ahead and kept them as complex, nuanced people who are trying to do what they think that's best for the world, and maybe that involves creating some corpses.
Yeah. But yeah, and then there's just the fact that they're able to expand on then the day-to-day life in the slums. Some of the quests involve just running around and helping. There's 26 different side quests that you can do to help other people out within the slums.
The slums felt a little more like a place where people are living, like scrambling to live and hold on, but it didn't just feel like, okay, this is a set piece backdrop for where we're going to have these plot events.
Nope, it's an
It
actual
felt more like
living
an actual place.
Even though it was basically shantytown, it was still beautifully done. And
I mean, some people live in shanty towns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What were your guys' thoughts on? We talked a little bit about combat, but how they actually executed it was there aren't random mobs running around on the map. They're in specific areas. Certain monsters are always found in certain areas. What are your thoughts on how they decided to go about with that?
I mean, I've been kind of moving towards the random encounters don't really have a place in modern game design. So I'm okay with that. Don't at me.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
Or, go ahead and at me.
Because I guess my issue with it is, the respawn time is extremely, it's either reset or you have to go quite a distance on the map in order to reset it.
At the same time, I've never really felt like I needed to grind all that much.
True. I did spend a little bit of time grinding up, but it was mainly because I wanted to increase material levels or learn weapon skills.
Yeah. But for the most part, I've never really felt like I needed to do that.
Yeah, like I said, I ended up finishing the game in 41 hours, and I maybe did 4 hours of grinding.
Stuff feels reasonably balanced such that I don't feel much of a need to do that, which I appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
I beat the game and didn't grind at all.
So was it just? I don't know. Maybe it was just the way we did it. It was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Which
I can also see I can also see if I'm really close to leveling up. Okay, I kind of want to get the new skill.
Yeah. I tried to get as many of the magic materia leveled up. What did you guys think of that Shinra research kid?
I'm
creepy,
intrigued
but
Go ahead,
sorry,
Chille.
sir. No, that's what I was going to say. It was creepy. You go, sir.
Yeah, I'm intrigued, a little alarmed at how quickly he seemed to jump over to ours. Or maybe he didn't jump, but he is very cavalier about his attitude towards his employer, and I was like, that's a little weird, kid.
And the fact that he's rather young and in the position he's in, that maybe is a little... he can't be more than, 14? 15?
Midgard doesn't strike me as the type of place that has child labor.
Fair enough. But I thought, the missions we got from him were fun. It made us explore the combat system.
I've only had a few from him so far, but it's been something where it's like, okay, I am trying out a couple things on the combat system that I might not have pushed as hard for. At the same time, I don't feel like I have to go out of my way to do them. Or just okay, try a couple different elements. Okay, in a few different ways, assess more stuff.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it's pushing me a little beyond the just mash attack mentality, but without being so far that's like, okay, now I have to do this weird thing I would never do just for the purpose of clearing it. It feels like it struck the right balance.
I would consider what he offers as almost like a Hall of the Intermediate.
Yeah.
Instead of, it's not the Hall of Beginners. Like we got that in 14.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have been clamoring for something that will teach people some intermediate skills. And I think that what he offers in his different missions kind of scratches that itch within the Final Fantasy VII game, because it makes you look at, okay, you need to stagger this enemy, or stagger so many enemies and do a weapon skill, or you need to level up your materia, or you need to assess and learn weaknesses of so many different enemies. It forces you to expand, like you said, from the mash square and hit triangle, and then do a weapon skill.
Yep.
So,
yeah, that was one of the things going back to a lot of the older FFs, which I love for the story. On a lot of them I felt still held up, but then the battles are just like, okay, I'm just mashing attack on everything until I get to the boss, and then I'm unleashing all of my resources at once to destroy it in a single smash.
Ian in the chat saying it's Hope 2.0, and actually he does kind of remind me a little bit of Hope. A little bit in the character design.
Yeah, personality's totally different, but
let's see, what else can we talk about here without getting into spoiler territory. What has been the most surprising thing that you have encountered so far in this game? Good or bad?
You go ahead on that, Chille. I need a moment to think.
Okay, I like the combat system. I really did. I liked it.
Yeah, I was kind of up in the air about it, especially as I was playing the demo. But then we realized that it wasn't the actual same version that we were going to be getting, so I took that with it, as it was.
Yeah,
and it was well improved.
The final one does feel a lot more polished.
It's not just a copy paste of the Final Fantasy 15 system either. It actually is integrated a lot nicer. It's a lot smoother, it feels. The camera controls are just so much better.
I guess I dislike the side quests because some of them just I didn't feel like I needed to really do them. Some of them were really good, but some of them just felt like it was filler.
A little forced.
Yeah.
Content just for content's sake.
Yeah. I did them all because I enjoyed them a little bit because of the area, but there was also, they felt like they weren't needed.
And some of them gave you little tidbits of lore, or...
Well, those ones are fine. It's just some of them.
I will say that it seems like some of them were put in place to scratch an itch that certain people may have playing the original.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, especially in the Wall Market area?
Yeah.
There are aspects of the game that have been changed.
Yeah. I'll just throw in for my answer to that question. Some of the stuff in terms of the plot where it feels like there's an interesting mix of, okay, they're kind of just, they're not necessarily, they're still keeping the main story, but kind of like expanding on it, adding some little mini scenarios or other stuff like that to develop characters, to develop the world. And then there's also stuff that feels like something weird is going on here. And I'm not quite sure what's actually a divergence from the story, or if anything's a divergence from the story, and what if it is like okay, we're still keeping the same beats, but like adding those little extra bits of flavor. And I feel kind of pleasantly off balance by it. I'm not quite sure what to expect. For someone who spends as much time as I do reading about different tropes and storytelling and narrative building and analyzing, looking at all these things, being set just a little bit off balance is actually kind of fun and exciting. I don't quite know what's coming next, and it's interesting.
Yeah, I will agree with that sentiment. That's probably one of my things that I found amazing. I came into this thinking, okay, I for the most part remember the story from Midgar, and the fact that I knew certain aspects were coming up, but the things that they added within the game ended up, pleasantly surprising me and drawing me into it and making me enjoy, you know, these newer pieces of storyline that we're getting. That I think how that all tied together and made this one cohesive game. I really enjoy that. There are a couple of
I have that itch of there is something really like there's the hey, this is the game that I'm familiar with and love and I'm enjoying that and that's good. But then also there is something slightly strange about all this and I don't know what it is, but I really want to know.
Yeah, it keeps drawing you in. I mean, they made this game not only for the people who played the game originally, but they made it for a new generation.
Mm-hmm.
They really did. It's got something for everybody. You don't have to be a Final Fantasy fanboy to enjoy Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Hey, where else are we going to get the new fans from?
Yeah, and I think that actually says something. It says that but the fact that they did it without fully alienating the original fan base.
Well, it's a hard balance to strike.
I think they did an amazing job on it, and I think we see why a lot of these game reviewers are giving it, you know, 8s, 9s, and 10s.
Mm-hmm.
It's not perfect. I don't think that Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 is perfect in any way, but it is very, very well done for what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, so with a lot of the coronavirus stuff going on, I have been often taking the role of like kind of like emotional support and impromptu therapist and other things like that. And I had not realized just how much I was starting to burn myself out emotionally on that. And this was something that's like, this managed to grab my attention and keep me from going through a lot of those thought patterns and loops again. It's like, this was something that gave me a badly needed break.
Yes. I mean, and that's, I think, exactly what it was designed for, to make sure people can enjoy things.
Yeah, like it managed to hit stuff well enough that I was like, okay, this is something that's like drawing me in, as we said a couple times, keeping interested. Like, this is something that's to be interested about.
Yes.
Very badly needed, I can tell you.
I know Chille for PSU, Tim was the one who actually did the review on this, and I did reach out to him, but unfortunately he was not able to get back to me on joining us for this. Just out of curiosity, what would you have rated Final Fantasy VII at?
Probably an 8.
Okay, so you didn't like it nearly as much as Tim.
An 8.5 or high 8.
Okay. What? Just out of
But
curiosity.
I haven't played through hard mode yet, so.
Oh God, hard mode. I just started it.
No items, baby.
I know. Oh, it's tough. It's very tough.
Wait,
Remember to go do. What's that? Sorry.
Hard mode doesn't allow you to have items?
No items, and MP isn't restored by rest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually. I just started my playthrough. I got through the initial reactor portion of it pretty easily, but Guard Scorpion is kicking my ass.
Do the training thingy-majig first.
Okay. You mean the Shinra
yeah,
reactor
that's an
one?
item.
Or the oh, okay.
I'm not going to say where.
I think I know what
So
you're
don't
talking about.
spoil it.
I guess, yeah, don't say it on here, but yeah.
Get that certain item.
I think
and
I know what
that'll
you're
help you.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to try it just to see what it was like. Give it a start. Something to break it up, because the other thing that I've been doing since I beat it is the last thing I want to talk about is once you beat the game, I mean, don't feel that you have to explore every single inch of the game right away. Once the game is beaten, you get chapter select mode.
I think they actually mentioned that on one of the little...
But yeah, it also
You also
unlocks...
get double XP and triple AP.
Yep, so it allows you to level up your materia a little bit faster so you can complete some of those other missions that you might need, as well as it will then help you with your playthrough of hard mode. So yeah, the fact that they allow... And some of the trophies actually require multiple playthroughs.
Yeah.
So, be prepared for that. There's one trophy that requires you to get all 9 dress-up options.
Ooh.
Because there are 3 for Cloud, 3 for Tifa, and 3 for Aerith, and they are all gotten by doing specific things throughout the storyline.
Yeah.
I won't say how, but if you want to find that out, there are guides on the internet about it. But how you interact through the game will determine, certain portions of it. So I think that was kind of interesting, and it requires you to kind of go back and re-enjoy it again. So yeah, Seyrr, like I said, your playthrough currently is incomplete, but if based on what you've seen so far, what would your rating be?
Ooh.
And I know it is subject to change because we are going to be revisiting this in about a month.
Given what I've seen so far, I'd probably put it at a high 8 to a 9.
Okay.
Like, I'm never quite sure what kind of granularity we want on these, and that always starts me on some rants about numeric rating systems in general. But
I mean, yes, I mean you can put a 9 point whatever, or you can even say it as out of 100 too. So whatever.
That's just shifting a decimal point. That doesn't help.
Well, it gives you more granularity.
But I could just say 9 point whatever, and it's the same thing, and you're just moving a decimal point.
So
I want to rate it 3.5 apples out of a fruit salad of banana.
Ooh, I could totally go for some apples right now. Wait, what?
and I would.
Sarah's a death code confirmed.
I would say I would probably give it a high 8 to a low 9. So somewhere between 8.8 and a 9.2. So right around a 9. There are certain things that I really, really loved about the game. There are certain things that I know that can be improved, that may end up getting improved with patches, that might get changed with the next version of the game. So I know that they said they're already a good chunk into developing the next game. So hopefully we don't have to wait another 5 years.
Perhaps at Sony's conference in June.
You mean online?
Oh yeah, Microsoft and Sony have online conferences planned.
Yep, since there is no E3. But yeah, so that's kind of our take on Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like I said, we do plan on revisiting this and maybe talking about some of the story differences. Give everybody an opportunity to kind of play through the game first. We don't want to be the guys that spoil things for everybody without, at least giving you enough time to get through it yourself. Maybe get some discussion with you guys as well to see what you guys think about some of the different story elements that we've been given. So the other thing that I kind of discovered this today, thanks to Aya at dancing_fighter, learned that today is Tifa's birthday. May 3rd. So that's kind of neat. And with that, I also saw that there actually is a wiki page that has a bunch of Final Fantasy character birthdays. Let me link
compiled
that here.
from all sorts throughout.
So if you're interested to see if you share a birthday with a Final Fantasy character, you can click on that and see that. Apparently, I share a birthday with Cypher.
I'm 1 day off from Zell, which I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm 1 day off Queen.
Ooh,
Cool.
nice.
So yeah, that's kind of a neat thing. So I just figured I would throw that out there since it's kind of neat. And also Aya does amazing Tifa cosplay. So
Oh yeah.
Also, go check out our streams on Dancing Fighter.
So you mean do a good old shout out? It's one word on Twitch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because her Twitter is _. So
Also, as long as we're sharing interesting tidbits, I want to share a fascinating observation that Spender passed on to me a day or two ago.
sorry, he showed us this a little earlier before the
I
show
actually
started.
have a running tally of how many people I have made angry with this knowledge. It's kind of great. If I make you angry with this knowledge, please write into us and let me know so I can update the tally.
Yeah,
So
just
he
like
points
Pinionbot
out
said, podcast at phoenixstarradio.com.
Yes.
Or at
So he
PHXDN Radio. Sorry.
So he pointed out that in Final Fantasy VI, the Warring Triad, they're powerful godlike, and mortals that were caught between their fighting became espers that were forced to fight for the gods, right? So that means that espers are l'Cie, right?
I have one response to that.
Da, 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 da.
I don't know if my mic will let me pick this up because of RTX voice, but I'm
It is
slowly
very
clapping.
slow clapping.
Yeah, there you go.
Or
Yeah.
You are technically correct. You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
So yeah, espers are just l'Cie. Don't at me, or at me. It's gonna be pretty funny.
Hell, and for those that hate it, X2 and 7 share the same universe.
Yep. So far, the tally is at 6 people that have explicitly said they were angry as a result of learning this. But I'm hoping to get that number at least to double digits before the end of the week.
all right. Well, I think that with that bombshell, it's going to go ahead and do it for this episode.
Yay.
They gave me a cannon stamp.
No,
Why did they give me a cannon stamp?
I should say, though, Taliz did write under prep station, make food from your pantry. Also,
yeah.
I ended up, unrelated, but related to that, I did find a guy on YouTube, Glenn and Friends Cooking, who currently has a series going on about the pandemic pantry, or, cooking what's in the cupboard. So you can look up Glenn and Friends Cooking out on YouTube if you're interested in that. He's a interesting gentleman from Canada. We won't hold that against him, though.
Yeah. I continue to make cocktail sauce, and I did a rice cooker steamed egg yesterday. That was nice.
Well, Ian, we didn't talk about food really much this episode, so we kind of had to do it at the end. So
Yeah.
anyway,
I talk about food. It's required.
so like I said, that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, please make sure to like, subscribe, or follow us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, or on whatever podcatcher you prefer, I guess. I mean, there are a number of them that we're available on. And if there's one that you use and you don't have access to us on it, let us know so we can maybe get it added. And if it's possible, leave us a like and a review. It helps us know what you guys think, and it actually helps other people find our podcast as well. The more likes we get, the higher up we go in the algorithm, yada, yada, yada. Math.
Always the algorithm.
Yeah. And if you really dig this show, you could consider subscribing here at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio. Especially if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you are entitled to one free Twitch subscription every month. And you can go ahead and use that on your favorite subscriber or your favorite streamer. Just remember that you do need to renew that manually every month. So you can use that opportunity to spread the love around if you want to, or you can just keep coming back to us and get access to some amazing emotes and things like that. Or if you want, you can be like our amazing friend Rory Fenrir and support us out at patreon.com/PhoenixDownRadio. All the proceeds we get for that go towards covering things like hosting costs, help us to grow the show, and let us do some really fun things. But any kind of support, whether it's emails, likes, tweets, or retweets, subs, all of that, all very helpful. If you want to go check out our backlog of podcasts, you can go check us out at PhoenixDownRadio.com. You can email us podcast at PhoenixDownRadio.com, and you can hit us up on Twitter at PHXDNRadio. We do technically still have a contest open, guys. We're still waiting for people to respond to it. The hashtag PhoenixDownPickMeUp contest. Tweet to us at PHXDNRadio with that hashtag PhoenixDownPickMeUp with a story of you encountering somebody helping somebody else out during these troubled times. Like I said, it can be you helping somebody else out. It can be somebody else helping you out, or something that you saw in the community in Final Fantasy XIV, in real life, whatever you want to share. We're going to then take the entrance from that, and we're going to draw and give away an amazing Phoenix Down keychains that I got from Loot Cave. So want to share this with you guys. So I really do hope that we can hear your stories, because we all need a little bit of positivity in our lives right now. And reading your stories, I think, would be a great step to helping us, get through this times together.
Mm-hmm.
Shout outs. Chille, since you are our guest this week, why don't you go ahead and start?
I'd like to shout Maelstrom Radio Shields attend gather together Phoenix Down Radio Music Cast XIV and Moogle Go Around Radio. I might as well do a bit slow with Moogle Go Around Radio because I plan to do a Animal Crossing event on Tuesday at 9 p.m. BST. I've got so much money in Animal Crossing now that what I've done is I've covered my island in money. I'm going to invite people onto my island in the stream, and then you'll have a chance to. You've got 30 seconds to run around the island to pick up money. There's bags of 10,000 and there's up to bags of 99,000. I have 32 million bells in my bank account. So.
That is an absurd number of bells.
Yeah, I'm rich.
But are you rich in human spirit?
I'm giving away money, so would that count?
Guys.
Okay, yeah.
If one of you takes advantage of that, you can use that story and tweet at us that, that you got a whole bunch of money from Chille and Animal Crossing, and the fact that he gave it away really lifted your spirits. # Phoenix Down, pick me up.
Also, remember, if you have me as best friends, I randomly send people 100k every day.
It's Chille's 100K a day giveaway.
Literally, I just send them a message saying random money and then put money on it.
And how can they follow you, or if they want to, stalk you on the Twitters or wherever?
You can stalk me at MG_Chille. You can turnip stalk me. MG_Chille.
Yeah.
Seyrr?
Yeah.
So shout out to Emmy and Ali. Emmy from Newscast, and I don't know if that's Ali doing, who just had their 5th anniversary ceremony of bonding anniversary renewal today. Congratulations to the happy couple. They did a parade from the Sanctum of the 12 all the way to Mordona. Looking improves next year when flying mounts become available. Also, shout out to all the various folks on Discord servers that have helped keep my spirits up during this time. Special shout out to Obsidian Fire on the Gamer Escape server, who helped me figure out the party setups that for FF12 that I've been wanting to use for ages. I've been dithering on that so much, and she really just had a good handle on what sorts of things I was looking for and was able to lay it out really clearly. So thank you for that. You can find me on Twitter at FF14Seyrr. That's FFXIV SEYRR. You can also contact me through the Phoenix Down website. I think Seyrr at phoenixdownradio.com will direct to me.
Yes.
And you can also on our Discord, which I do monitor pretty much all the time.
Yep. So jump on Discord or Twitter. Those are probably the best ways to get a hold of any of us. And I, of course, want to shout out Chille. Thank you so much for being our guest tonight. It was great to have you back on the show. To that guy who was happy not having you on the show, F off. We like Chille. We like
Chille.
Chille.
Sleep soon.
Yes, Chille needs to go to bed soon. Shout out to Seyrr. Thank you so much again for being here. Shout out to Taliz. Thank you for sticking around for as long as you could. Like I said, real life stuff requires real life action, and he had to do what he had to do. Definitely appreciate that. Shout out to everybody who's been stopping by when we do the Twitch Sings streams lately. I've been having so much fun in the parties. Shout out to the people that I've been singing with in those parties as well. We've gotten a few new follows from that. Couple subs even. So shout outs to you guys for stopping by. I really do appreciate being able to share our love for Final Fantasy with you guys, through the magic of music. If you haven't stopped by and checked out those streams, I do strongly encourage you to do so. I'm utilizing that as an opportunity to help raise funds for our Extra Life campaign. If you catch me on Twitch Sings and you give a donation to Extra Life and give me a song to sing, I'll sing it for you. regardless of what it is. As long as it's in Twitch Sings, I'll sing it. No matter how bad, how cringy, whatever, I'll sing it for you.
Where's my Taylor Swift catalog?
There's some in there, but yeah, I figured that's be a good way to, you know, where you can A, embarrass Klauss, and B, donate to an amazing cause. So, with that being said, for my co-hosts Seyrr and Taliz, for our guest Chille, I am Klauss Nightbringer, wishing everybody a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Praise Lava Scorpion.
Phoenix Down Radio is a production of PhoenixDownRadio.com and Illusion Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. In-game content for Phoenix Down Radio is the copyright of Square Enix. Opening music for Phoenix Down Radio is provided by Guilty Gear Rock You. Check out the Metal Chocobo theme cover and many other music videos at youtube.com/Guilty Gear Rock You. Closing music for this episode is provided by Guitar Wanker 90. Please check out their full version of Matoya's Cave and other rock video game covers at youtube.com/Guitar Wanker 90. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of Phoenix Down Radio and its hosts and do not reflect the views of Square Enix.